Welcome back to Ozarks Live. It's now time for another edition of Dollars and Cents.
We go out live to the Resource Center now where Tom is. How's it going, Tom?
You know, anytime I get to stop and talk with Bruce Porter, it's going to be good because I always learn something. And as they just said, we're at the Resource Center, and there he is. The man, the myth, the legend, right there, Bruce Porter. Good to see you.
Wow, what an intro.
Yeah, how about that?
Good to see you again.
Okay, we're going to talk about something. Of course, the things that you talk about are important. This one, I think a lot of people don't have a firm grasp on, and that's inheritance and the mistakes that can be made.
Yeah, I mean, inheritance is a thing. We've been doing these estate planning workshops for several years now.
Right.
And these are just some of the things that I've kind of run onto that people have misinformation about, and they just don't realize some of the ramifications of inheriting assets or money, different types of money, things like that. So we're going to kind of dive into
let's just jump in there.
Kind of the things that I've run into.
Okay, what do we have?
So, the first thing is careless spending. The thing that people do when they inherit money, then all of a sudden they go out and buy stuff.
Yes.
That they normally would put a lot of thought into.
Yes.
But, they
Everybody
very quickly,
gets a car, and a house.
and they take everybody out for lunch, and they buy drinks at their local pub, and they're doing things that they normally wouldn't do. And that type of careless spending is not a really good thing to do because it's a hard habit to break when you run out of money, right?
Yes.
Now that kind of falls under this thing called sudden money syndrome. Now that, all of a sudden you're rich, right? In comparison to what you were the day before.
And it makes no difference if you've inherited $5,000 or $500,000.
It doesn't matter because all of a sudden you've got money that you never had before, and now you're making decisions without thought, and it's going to be costly in the time run. We got to constantly think about taxes, insurance, additional expenses that come along. So you inherit money, so what do people do? Normally they go buy a brand new car.
Sure.
But they forget you got to keep a little money back to pay the sales tax.
There's tax outside of like life insurance. Everything you inherited, it's going to fall under some kind of tax.
Some type of tax.
Yeah.
And you got to be mindful of that because you buy a new car, you got to pay the sales tax. Then you got to have insurance to get the tags.
Yep.
So you go to buy the insurance on the new car you just bought, and you're used to paying maybe liability only on your old car.
Yeah,
now you
not
got to have
anymore.
full coverage because you got a big car that's a nice car. And so now you're going to pay a lot more. So you got to make sure that fits in the old budget. And so things like that go kind of,
Right.
And so now, losing other income sources because you inherited money. Now that can have a detrimental effect on maybe your Social Security, your disability, things like that. Now, here's what that looks like. So now you've got income off of an inheritance that is causing you, because of your provisional income numbers go up, now you're having to have exposure on maybe your Social Security that you have.
Right.
Don't quit your day job, right? Don't change your lifestyle. You may have nicer things than you've ever had, but don't drastically change your standard of living.
Yes.
I think that would be good advice. Special needs heirs need special attention. If you're an heir to an estate and you have let's rephrase that. If you have a child that has special needs and they're going to be an heir to your estate,
Right.
trust me, do some planning ahead of time so that you can avoid them losing possibly their Medicaid, their SSI payment, things like that. Those things have to be thought through because it takes a little bit of additional planning.
Yeah.
Now, IRA accounts, that's a big deal. If you're going to be inheriting an IRA, the new rules that have come into existence, there are no more inherited IRA type spreads where you can spread it out over lifetime. There's tax implications when you are inheriting mom or dad's big IRA. You're going to have 10 years to take distribution. The 10-year rule is important because what's going to be changing in the next 10 years? The tax code. Either pay now.
Everything will change.
or pay more later.
Yeah.
Because we know in 2026, the new tax code will come out, and we're going to probably have a higher tax exposure than we are right now. So if you're inheriting a big IRA, we need to sit down with someone that knows, find that person, me or somebody else, and sit down and discuss, here's my 100 grand I'm inheriting, what do I need to do
Okay,
to
because for
mitigate
many
my
people,
tax?
this is more money than they may have ever had.
That's right.
If people want more information about this and things like that, how
Right.
do they get that from you, Bruce?
Go to our QR code and scan that, call 882-1800, make an appointment. We'll be glad to sit down and visit, have some coffee, talk about your situation.
Learn all parts of the equation,
Yep.
Bruce. Always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tom. Bruce will straighten us out if we actually just listen to his advice.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, coming up next on Ozarks Live, Halloween will be here before you know it, and there's so many ways to celebrate.
Learn more about an upcoming Halloween-themed run.